What's up guys? Today I'm going to be installing the PERRIN Strut brace or Strut Bar on my 2016 WRX. It's going to be a pretty straightforward install. It's not too complicated. You can do this on your own in the garage. The area that we're going to be working in is just up here at the top of the strut towers, and specifically just these two bolts have to come off. And that's basically it. The strut tower gets mounted into place, and you tighten those bolts back up, you're good to go. So let's get started. So for this we're just going to need a 12mm socket set basically. So that's it. So the car does need to be on the ground to do this install obviously, but I'm just going to get started by removing those two bolts at the top. They come off very easily. Now do the same thing on the other side. So you'll notice that those bolts came off very easily. That's because they're only torqued to 18 foot-pounds of torque, which is not a lot. So now we're ready to bolt the strut bar up onto my WRX, but before we do, we want to loosen these small hex keys here before we put it in. What this does is it allows this to twist, allowing you the flexibility of getting it installed. It's a bit tricky up there when you don't have these loosened and it's stiff, so you want to loosen those beforehand, then we can go and get it lined up and installed. So with the ends loosened, we can start lining it up into place. So we've got it all in place now here, and like I said, loosening these keys here really helps because you can adjust it to get it in. If you don't loosen those, it's really hard to get in. But now you want to put these bolts back into place. Now if you remember when we took these bolts off, they were very easy to take off because like I mentioned, they're only sitting around 14 to 18 foot-pounds of torque. So when you put them back into place, you obviously want to torque them down to the right spec, which is around 18 foot-pounds, which is not a lot. Now I don't have a torque wrench in this size, so I'm just going to hand tighten these, and basically I'm going to go to the point where it's really tight and then try and do about a quarter turn more just by hand. And that should be good. So just to the point it's really tight, and then we'll do another quarter turn. Because you do not want to over tighten these. If you do and you break one of the bolts off, like that's your suspension, and that will be a very expensive fix. Once it's all in place, don't forget to go and tighten these hex bolts back up. Obviously that will kind of defeat the whole purpose of this if your strut brace is kind of moving around and twisting while you're driving. So tighten these up to keep it from doing that. Alright guys, so there we go. The PERRIN strut brace is installed and it looks really nice up there in the engine bay. I've got this red kind of vinyl inlay there on the engine cover that looks cool. But yeah, like I mentioned, it's a very straightforward install, about 15 minutes to complete. Just don't forget to double check and tighten all your bolts. And of course, like I mentioned, loosening these little pieces here help you get it in place. If you don't loosen those, you'll have a lot more difficulty getting it in because it's not always going to fit straight in. So you do need to loosen those and then make sure you tighten them back up. But it looks good, and I'm really excited to see how it feels in the engine bay now. When I'm driving, ultimately it's supposed to improve the suspension of the car, make everything a little bit more stiffer when cornering, and just make it more rigid and kind of connect the two suspensions together on the side to kind of balance out the tension coming as you're cornering from each side. In the next few weeks, stay tuned for a video where I'll share with you some of my thoughts and impressions of the strut brace on my WRX once I've had a chance to get out and take it in through some nice corners. So that's it for this install video, guys. I'm going to end it here now. If you guys are interested in checking out the PERRIN strut brace, I'll have a link down below in the description, or you can head on over to PERRIN's website. If you guys have any questions on the install, or you get stuck or need a hand, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to answer it as soon as I can, or you can message me over on Instagram. All those links are down in the description. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and as always, I hope you're having a great day or night, whatever it is where you are.